Spring is upon us. February is officially over. I'm here for it. I'm ready for the spring flowers, the birds chirping, the bees buzzing, the warm weather. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. There's something about the warm weather, the spring, that just gives me new life. It gives me new life. But before we move on to the next season, which officially it's not even spring yet, so don't let me get ahead of myself. But before we move on, let's take a look back and let's talk about some of the makeup products that I've been loving in the month of February. There were quite a few things that I discovered that I fell back in love with, and I want to share them with you guys. If you enjoy videos like this, please give them a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump right in. Starting off strong, if you have been watching any of my shorts, any of my content, you will know how completely enamored I am with the Betty Boop times Glamlite palette. First of all, the packaging is just so stinking cool. This is a flashback to my childhood. There's something about that is screaming nostalgia, early 2000s vibes, and I love it. I also got the mirror that was released in the same collection, and it is so adorable. I mean, it's a pretty huge mirror. It's very good quality, but it's not super heavy, which is nice, so your arm doesn't like get worn out doing your makeup, which can happen for weaklings like me. You know, I gotta hit the gym. I gotta start doing my arm workouts a little bit more. I digress. This palette is beautiful. This was the first palette that I ever tried from Glamlite. My husband bought this for me for Valentine's Day. He's so sweet. And I think this was their Valentine's Day collection, if I'm not mistaken. It was released around that time. When I first saw the color story released on Trend Mood, I actually was a little bit surprised. This isn't necessarily what I expected, but I really like it a lot more than I thought I would. I love that you can go more neutral with this taupey gray, with the black, with the silvery taupe shimmer. Even with some of these more warm tones, like this shade is pretty neutral. It's like a burnt terracotta. Or you can go super vibrant red. This shade, Major Sass, is like a neon red. It is so intense. I don't know if you can tell on camera. It's intense, but it's gorgeous all over the lid. And these purples are so scrumptious. I'm actually not that big of a purple person, but I am wearing the purples on my lid today, and they blend so beautifully. And this shade, Ooh La La, is stunning. It looks more silver on camera, but in person, it's a very bright lilac-y lavender. Don't know the difference between lilac and lavender, but a very bright purple that's just so fun and very springtime appropriate. This black is intense. Like, you need to be careful going in with this black because it is going to just deepen up any look to the extreme, so beware. But the mattes are very pigmented, very blendable, and the shimmers, like I already mentioned, are just so reflective, a little bit more sparkly. So beautiful. So beautiful. I love every shade. It's so gorgeous. I can't stop wearing it. And I am so impressed with Glamlite's formula. And I actually think for the price, I think it was around $32, it's really, really great quality. So definitely check out Glamlite. Definitely check out the Betty Boop palette if you're interested. I don't think you'd be disappointed. Sticking to the eye theme, I have been loving these lashes from Iure London. These are the 3/4 length natural number 15. So if you have more hooded eyes and you find that a lot of lashes just overpower your lid space, cover up all of your eyeshadow, hit your brow bone because they're so long and thick, these are what you need. They give you that extra lift, that extra bit of volume and definition on the outer 3/4 of your lid, but they don't overpower your eyes. They don't close off this inner portion, which I find happens a lot with falsies in general. And if you just don't really like wearing falsies because they feel uncomfortable, these are also something to check out. The band is so thin, it's so flexible, and they're so lightweight. I honestly forget that I'm wearing them throughout the day. I'm wearing them today. They just give you the perfect amount of lift without being too much. So I really like them. If you're in the market for some new 3/4 length lashes, definitely check those out. They're pretty affordable. I think they were like $10 for the 4-pack, and I've reused the same pair like 5-6 times and they still are going strong. So you definitely can get a lot of uses out of one pair and you get 4 pairs. So I think it's worth the money. I definitely wanted to give a shout out to this Baked Full Face Basics palette from Loreal. I really don't hear a lot of people talking about Loreal. It's kind of like one of those brands that you forget about. Or like, I don't know, I just feel like it's not super hyped on TikTok. It's not the most edgy brand, you know what I mean? But they have really good, I just like smush my finger. but they have really good stuff, especially their baked powders. This is essentially like an Hourglass baked powder. It is that really smooth, very thin, lightweight powder, but it gives you the most luminous, natural glow to the cheeks. I'm wearing the blush and the bronzer today. I do have a cream blush layered underneath of this one, but the majority of that glow that you see is coming from these powders. I don't even have a highlighter on. There are highlights in this palette, but honestly, the blush and the bronzer are already pretty glowy. You don't necessarily need to use a highlight. You definitely can, but you don't need to. And I just love how glowy these powders are. They give you just the right amount of healthy luminosity without being sparkly, glittery. They don't overly emphasize pores and texture. It looks so natural and beautiful and seamless on the skin. I love this palette. My mother-in-law purchased this for me and she's such a doll. She loves the Baked Powder Foundation from L'Oreal, which I'm intrigued to try now that I love these powders so much. So grateful to her for picking this up for me because I don't know if I ever would have purchased it for myself, but it's literally one of my favorite powder formulas in my collection. It's really that good. So the cream blush that I'm wearing layered underneath of that L'Oreal powder blush is the Cream Blushlight from Melt in the shade Pink Sand. Oh, I just dug my finger. I don't know if you can tell in the pan. They're very, very emollient, very creamy, very slippy blushes, which honestly is not usually the type of cream blush that I go for. I usually like something that dries down a bit more to more of a powdery finish, but there's something about this formula that just melts into the skin. It's so easy to blend. It's pigmented, but it's not one of those cream or liquid blush formulas that once you go in, you are pretty much stuck with that level of pigmentation. If you go in with too much, you can easily tone it down. So it's very, very user-friendly, I find. And I love the healthy glow that it gives to my cheeks. Oh, it's so gorgeous. And it doesn't stay overly greasy or tacky on the skin at all. You can see that glow right there. It's so pretty. This one in Pink Sand, it doesn't have any shimmer. However, I do have another shade in Golden Hour, which is this gorgeous light orangey golden blush. It's orange without being too much. It's sort of a blush. I mean, it's called a blush lighter, so that's really what it is. This is more of a highlighty blush than the other one because you have that luminosity from just the formula itself being glowy, but this one also has a bit of a golden shift sheen to it. It's so pretty. I love both of them equally and I've been wearing them nonstop. That's not necessarily a new launch. I think Melt released that maybe 1 or 2 years ago, but honestly, I don't really hear anybody talking about it and I don't know why because it's such a good formula. I really think that more people need to check them out because they're really good. A formula that is new, I believe, is from Loreal. This is their True Match Radiant Serum Concealer with 1.5% hyaluronic acid and caffeine. I have 2 shades, W3 and N1. I'm wearing N1 today just for a little bit of brightness under my eyes and down the center of my face, and I am super duper pale right now. I love this concealer. It is so thin, so serumy, so lightweight, but the thing that I love about it is that unlike a lot of other serumy concealers, it doesn't crease. I don't know about you, but most concealers will crease on me. It's very rare that I find a concealer that doesn't crease, and this one, literally, it hardly creases. If it creases, it's the tiniest little bit, but most of the time it doesn't crease on me, which is amazing. It is a serumy concealer, so it's very thin and lightweight, but it does dry down, not to a matte finish, but it does dry down to where if you have dry skin like me, you don't have to set it and it doesn't migrate and it doesn't crease. It's amazing. It's so good. I love it. It gives good medium coverage. It's not super full coverage, but it's just enough for an everyday look. I'm wearing it again today. I think it just looks so natural. It never looks heavy. It never looks cakey. And I love that I can put it on without having to set it with a powder. If I can avoid powder, I usually will just because my skin doesn't always look the best with powder because it's so dry and dehydrated. The only thing I will say about this concealer is that it does contain alcohol in it, which is not my favorite. However, L'Oreal's website does say that the alcohol that they include in some of their products does evaporate, so it's not necessarily sitting on your skin for a prolonged period of time, but in general, it's not ideal to have alcohol in products that you're putting on your skin just because it can be a bit drying or irritating, and you are putting it around your eye area, so I don't know long term if that would necessarily be like the best thing, but I can't deny that the formula is very beautiful and I really love the way it looks on my skin, so I will continue using it. I don't know if I'll use it like every single day consistently, but it is definitely going to be in my rotation because I just love the way it looks so much. It is beautiful. Can't deny it. I wanted to give a shout out to the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. I have mentioned this on my channel many times before. I think it is probably my favorite foundation in my entire collection. It is similar to the Maybelline 24-hour skin tint, to where it's very thin, almost like a very serum-y texture. You can see here it's very thin and it just sits so closely to the skin, but it does spread quite far, so you can get a good medium coverage. The thing that I like about this is that it does set down, but it doesn't dry to a completely matte or powdery finish. Again, it still gives you a little bit of life, a little bit of luminosity. It's not sparkly or pearlescent. I feel like the Maybelline 24-hour skin tint is a little bit more pearlescent. This one is not necessarily that, but it does have a light reflecting property, as the name would suggest, and it's just gorgeous. It's expensive. It retails for around $52 in the United States, so definitely a pretty penny. I love how this wears on my skin. It will wear for 12 hours and look just as beautiful as when I applied it, which is so rare. Everything you layer on top of it is just going to last and looks super gorgeous. So I think it is worth the splurge. If you were interested in it, definitely maybe get a sample from Sephora or Ulta. It's one of the best foundations I've ever tried. And I took a break from it, but I've been using it a lot again recently, and I wanted to give it a shout out because it does deserve all of the attention, okay? She's a queen. She deserves to be on the throne. That's how good she is. Okay, I have two lip products to share. I wanted to mention the NYX wooden lip liners. These are super old formula, nothing new here. And I have mentioned a lot of lip liners from NYX in the past. Usually I will talk about the Line Loud lip liners from NYX. I think that's what they're called. Those ones are definitely more long lasting, more creamy, and more pigmented. So if you like something very creamy, very pigmented, very long lasting, it's gonna lock down, definitely check out the Line Loud lip liners from NYX. Those are really good. But surprisingly to myself, I have been reaching for these wooden lip liners, which I've always liked these, but I've never thought of them as a favorite. And I don't know, in the past month, I've just been reaching for these on an everyday basis because they are a little bit drier and a little bit less pigmented than the Line Loud lip liners, or the lip liners I usually go for, which I find to be very suitable for an everyday makeup look because it's not overpowering. These look very natural on the lips. They just contour your lips, give them a little bit of definition without being like bam in your face, I have lip liner on, if that makes sense. They're not the most long wearing, but they do wear a decent amount of time, and I love the shades that NYX offers in these. Literally every neutral you could ever need, in every undertone that you could ever need. I'll go ahead and pop swatches up of the shades that I do have. I love all of them. Sandstorm is a bit of a more cool tone brown. Nude Truffle is similar to Sandstorm. Natural is like that perfect rosy pink. Peekaboo Neutral is definitely more of a nudie pink, which is what I'm wearing on my lips today. And I do have a little bit of Nude Truffle around the edges just to give a little bit of definition and like contrast, I guess. And then London is more of the warm tone nude. So if I'm going for something more warm tone on the lips, I love reaching for London. They're all really, really good and they are super affordable. These are a really great option from NYX. The other lip product I wanted to mention is from Revlon. This is their super lustrous lipstick in the shade 044 Bare Affair. It's in the cream finish. It's right here. It's a lighter pinky nude with a slight satiny finish. I'm wearing this in the center of my lips today, but I do have those lip liners layered underneath, so this is not the true color necessarily. This is pretty much what I would say it looks like. It's a little bit more sheer. It's not super pigmented, but it does give you a nice wash of that pinky nude color, and it's very comfortable because it does have that cream finish, but it's not super, super glossy or slippy, so it wears a pretty good amount of time. The reason why I have been loving this and I wanted to give it a shout out is because this nude shade is very flattering. If you have more of an olivey undertone like I do, a lot of lighter pinky nudes end up looking a bit gray and just making me look a bit ill or sick. And this one does not do that. I've always been on the hunt for a light pinky nude that I can wear with something more bold on the eyes that's not going to be overpowering, but they always just end up looking gray or deathly or sickly on me. And this one does not. It's super flattering, it's not too much, and it's very comfortable, like I said. So I had to give this a shout out. If you find that a lot of nudes just wash you out or aren't flattering on your complexion, maybe try this one out from Revlon because it's super affordable, it's really beautiful, I love the tone, and it's very comfortable on the lips as well. Last but not least, I wanted to give a shout out to these earrings. It's not beauty or makeup, it's kind of beauty I guess, but it's not makeup. But I did want to give a shout out to these. These are from House of Harlow. You can find that brand at Marshall's, which is where I found them. I got these for Christmas, and these were around 20 bucks I think, and I love these hoops. I love them. They're so well made. They feel very thick and sturdy, but they're not heavy. I don't like heavy earrings that are like weighing my earlobes down. I've had a fear since I was little of having like really drooping earlobes. My grandma, bless her, I love my grandma, but she wore really heavy earrings that would like make her ears look so long and droopy, and I have had that irrational fear my whole life. So I don't like heavy earrings. Plus they're just uncomfortable. But these are not heavy at all. You don't even feel like you're wearing them, but they're very good quality, especially for the price. 20 bucks. They don't change colors. They are still shiny. They don't get dingy and weird or green. They're just really great quality. So if you're in Marshall's and you see House of Harlow, definitely check them out if you're on the hunt for some new jewelry pieces to add to your collection, because they have a lot of really great styles, a lot of really cute, trendy pieces for a somewhat affordable, reasonable price. So definitely wanted to give those a mention. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what products you have been loving this month. I love chatting about makeup with you guys. I love hearing what you have been loving as well. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps me out. Also, please subscribe. I would love to have you back, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.